Hello, I am Moe Thuzar. I am a research fellow at the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute, which was formerly known as the Institute for Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore. I am from Myanmar. The democracy movement, I think, had its nascence in late 1987 and really grew to a crescendo in 1988, culminating, of course, in the 4/8 uprising, August the 8th, 1988, and having a tragic end when the State Law and Order Restoration Council took over in a coup, a military coup on the 19th of September 1988. And so that I guess was the main turning point for Burma's political history, which I think has affected how the country's political evolution and development has been up to now. The final straws that added to that public outpouring of frustration in 1988 really had its beginnings in late 1987 when there was a demonetization drive that basically rendered the currency of the 25 jat note that was in circulation null and void. And that hit a large swathe of the country's populace because everybody would have a wad of 25 jat notes in their hand. When 1988 dawned, and what happened in a kind of tea shop argument that led to the death of a student, his name was Moe, basically triggered the start of the protests by student leaders of the democracy movement that again led on to the nationwide strike in August of 1988. You could have a slap-up meal for 25 jats. It could basically, I think, give you several weeks transportation if you were taking the buses. And so most of the people in the country would have 25 jat notes. It was a useful and easy amount to have. It wasn't a big note, so only people who were doing larger transactions would have the bigger notes, but everybody would have a 25 jat note. They tried to limit interactions, and they tried to limit the inflow of information. So in that sense, that you could say there was isolation. But in terms of the access to all other kinds of information, as long as it wasn't quote unquote political or somehow affecting, say, the regime of the day, I think that kind of information flow came in. So most of the pop culture eventually found its way to Burma and so on. But I think it's the constant awareness of what you're saying might be interpreted in a certain way, or you can't speak out. Like you could not develop that kind of critical conversation and dialogue that I guess is representative of most systems that have enshrined in their constitution freedom of expression and speech. I think that element, of course, was very much present in socialist Burma and in Burma after 1988 under military rule. But it had its result also of people learning to write between the lines, speak between the lines, and also listen between the lines.